everybody, Knocking on Heaven's Door by Bob Dylan. That's on the menu today. We're going to talk about the top 5 skills you can learn from this song. Now, if you're watching this on YouTube, you're going to see a short version of this video. For the full version, check out my website, Songbike, where you can see not only the rest of this video, but tons of other videos not available on YouTube. All right, so we're going to talk about how to strum the chords themselves. We're going to talk about up the neck versions of those chords, and we're going to talk about playing some lead guitar on this song. So let's get right down to it. The first thing you learn from Knocking on Heaven's Door is how powerful the basic chords can be. Now, when I say the basic chords, I'm talking about G, D, C, and A minor. Okay, 4 of the most common chords, maybe the first 4 chords you learned, right? A lot of power in those chords, especially when strummed on a nice, rich, big sounding acoustic guitar. So let's talk about those chords. You know, I'm a big fan of fretting G with the middle and ring over here and the pinky on the first string. Now, I know that's not easy and it's not intuitive, but I definitely recommend it for this song, and you'll see why in a minute. You don't have to finger G this way, but that's what I recommend. Of course, we've got D, we've got C, and A minor. So let me give you a few details here. The reason I make a big deal about fretting G this way is when the tune rolls around through the chord progression, you're going to end up on an A minor, and when it's time to go back to G, look how easy it is to get to this version of G, right? A minor to G. And later in the sequence, you're going to be going from C to G. If you've never fretted G this way before, now is a great time to learn it. Now, here's another couple of details. When I fret the D chord, I reach over my thumb a little bit and I very lightly dampen out the 6th string. The other 5 strings sound great when you play a D chord. Now, by dampening out the 6th string, it gives me a lot of freedom when it's time to strum my D chord. I don't have to worry that I might hit the fat string, right? Now, you don't have to do this, but I do it all the time and it helps a lot. Not only do I do it on the D chord, but I do it on the A minor chord. And you can do it on the C, but I also like to fret C with all 4 fingers. See what I did there? Here's your traditional C, right? I put my pinky where the ring finger was. I reach my ring finger over on the 6th string. It's still a C chord. Technically, it's called C/G. That means a C chord with G as the new low note. And again, I do that because that frees up my strumming hand to strum all 6 strings, you know, nice and confidently, without worrying that I might accidentally hit the open 6th string, which in general, most teachers would tell you when you play a C chord, don't hit the fat string. That causes some stress and anxiety, right? You know, so by fretting all 4 strings here, now all of a sudden I'm allowed to strum all 6 strings, and it also sounds great. Plus, there's something about grabbing onto a chord with all 4 fingers. Essentially, you're committing your whole hand to the chord, and that just feels really good, you know, for your fretting hand. Okay, so 4 easy chords, G, D, C, and A minor. A couple of tips about reaching around with your left thumb, if you want to, just an option, you know. Now, let's move on to some more details about Knocking on Heaven's Door. Now, before we get into playing some lead guitar along with Knocking on Heaven's Door and playing some up the neck chords, and we'll get into some details about the exact strumming for this tune, I want to point something out from a songwriting point of view. Okay, so this is takeaway number 2 from Knocking on Heaven's Door. I want to point out that the chord progression never varies. There's not like a verse and a chorus kind of deal. The chord progression is always G, D, A minor, G, D, C, and that's the entire song, okay? Now, what does that tell us? That tells us that even with a limited number of chords and actually a pretty straightforward, easy to memorize chord progression, you can create a fantastic, timeless, classic tune, okay? So be on the lookout for songs like this, where the chord progressions are so repetitive and so straightforward and so clear, you can add them to your repertoire very quickly, all right? Now, you can see the chord progression on the screen there. My best advice is to memorize it, okay? You always want to memorize a chord progression to a tune. In this case, it's really easy to memorize, right? G for 2 counts, D for 2 counts, and A minor for 4 counts. And then it starts over again. except you go to C for the 4 counts, and that's the entire tune. Now, there are a lot of classic songs like this, where the chord progression is simple, clear, straightforward, and easy to memorize, okay? If you can memorize the chord progression, obviously then you can give all your attention towards all the other details of the song. Strumming it, putting in embellishments, different ways of strumming it, different things you can do, because you don't want to be staring at a piece of paper simply to remember the chord progression, right? You want to have that chord progression memorized, and this is a great way to start memorizing chord progressions. Okay, now let's move on to some other details. All right, YouTube fans, there's a lot more I want to show you about knocking on heaven's door. So head on over to Songbike where you can become a member and see the rest of this video plus lots and lots of other videos not available on YouTube. By becoming a member, you support my teaching. You help me make more videos just like this one, and I really appreciate it. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel while you're here. Now, I will see you over there at Songbike.